Undisputed, the Mexican Monster Pack out now.
Daniel Dubois' future. The first bit of change is they've added Sam Jones to the team, and then Kieran Farrell put a statement out saying he's resigned. He was like seen as the padman in quotes. You know, good fighter he was, and a good trainer from Manchester sides, and yeah, he resigned. And then Sam Jones has been added. What do you make of that? Everyone assumes Sam's been added to the team to basically talk for them and be like their front face representative.
I mean, I saw the photo and I had to hold myself back from making well, it would probably seem a sarcastic comment, but I just thought it was a bit of banter. Because obviously me and Sam have a bit of banter, don't we? And now we're going to put, and he's been added to the team, I'm going to put what for the catering section for the parties. But I didn't want to do that because it seems like I'm having, I know, like I'm envious or bitter, which I'm not. But it would have been a nice joke, but I actually had to hold myself back.
The joke's about the pre-fight party, not Sam.
No, but yeah, because obviously Sam used to work in a bakery, didn't he?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and he's, you know, that's what he said. He goes to work in a bakery, great, and a big fan of Nazar's, fantastic. He's got a good story. So I did have to hold myself back, saying what he's been added to the team for the catering staff, but you know.
He must be doing well because he's been trusted to work with, you know, Naz is very protective. Naz has got him working with his sons. He's got a brilliant bunch of fighters. He's got Pat Brown as
listen, boxing's boxing.
He must be doing something right
well,
to all these fighters.
What he might be doing right is he might be very, he might be just very easy to work with. Not like me, I'm very hard to work with. I'm very argumentative and challenging and stuff like that. So
I've heard.
You know, I'm not one of these. I'm not a yes man. So that's what it is. You get what you see. So, you know, whatever Sam's doing is right for the people that he's working with. As for Kieran Farrell, well, I don't know. Usually that signifies that you haven't been paid when you stop working with somebody, but maybe there's more to that story than not. I don't know.
And then the other big one, so I'm assuming you mentioned that, you probably don't know this. So this has come out on Twitter. I saw a tweet yesterday from somebody who works in the boxing industry, Danny Glover, and he basically said...
Danny Glover?
Yeah. So,
oh, Danny Glover were an American actor.
No. So
he is an American actor, isn't he, Danny Glover? He definitely is.
So he's basically put that Don Charles has been relieved of his duties, and the new trainer... Who do you think he's took on as a new trainer? So you don't know, do you? Who do you think?
No, I don't know, but I'll just...
Give me some three names.
No, you don't have to. All I'll say to you is that it's always going to be the case when you get beat in it, you're going to get rid of the trainer. We've had this conversation 1,000 times. So, yeah, give me three names and I'll take a guess.
Well, I'll do it. This is good now because you don't know this. So, because apparently he's got a new trainer. So if you was to suggest a new trainer for him, British, so I'll narrow it down for you.
Well, who would I suggest? Give
me three names that you think.
Wait a minute, what would I suggest before you tell me as a trainer? Who would I suggest?
I mean, give me three names.
Go on then.
I'm going to say you give me three names that you think would be good for him from the UK.
I'd be hard pushed, I think. Maybe... I would probably say Adam Booth.
That's one.
He's already had Shane McGuigan, so we can't put him in.
No.
Huh?
Well,
Joe's just in the position where Joe is. I think he's got enough on his plate, and I don't think that'd be a good move because he's obviously got he's got a lot of things going on at the same time. But if Joe Gallagher was in a fit and healthy state, that would be a good move for him, and that's all I could probably put it down to be honest.
No other trainers that you can think of? Obviously, bearing in mind the dynamics, people are assuming the person's got to deal with the whole dynamic of the team as it is.
Well, I don't think you're going to deal with that dynamic. I think that's well and truly established father and son situation. I think we're all aware of that situation. So it's going to have to be somebody who's a bit, who's either very accommodating and sees it for what it is. He's damaged goods at the end of the day, Daniel Dubois, isn't he? So, you know, it's if they came to me and said, "Do you want to train Daniel Dubois and you're getting £1 million," I'd say, "No, I'm not bothered." It's like, you know, that's probably would be an unworkable situation for me with the way they carry on.
So I'll give you three names, and it's one of these. Let's see who you think it is. So if I suggested you put Adam Booth in the mix, Mark Tibbs and Tony Sims. Out of them three, apparently he's gone to one of them.
Oh, has he?
Yeah. So Booth, Sims, or Tibbs, who would you send him to?
I'll tell you the order I'd send it to. I'd send him to Adam Booth first, Tony Sims second, and Mark Tibbs third. I don't think Adam Booth would take the job because he's already got an heavyweight. He's got heavyweights, so I don't think that's going to work. I don't think they'd pick him. So I would say the next one is probably Tony Sims.
That's exactly where he's gone. Tony Sims, yeah. Allegedly, Tony Sims is the new trainer. What do you make of that move? Obviously, you know Tony from a long time.
Yeah, but I don't know. Regardless who they go to, I think the issue is always going to be there. Is that just from what I read and what people tell me, and just what I see, and I see that party and everything else. The connection between his dad and him is a connection, and nobody's going to get in that way. And his dad's going to be the big influence over all that. So it don't really matter what coach you've got, because that's the team. Them two, the trainer it'll not be that in that position. So they're always going to be dictated to, and you're always going to have to compromise yourself, and that's where the issue is going to be, because we've had this conversation. Obviously, his dad doing what he's doing has got him to a certain level. And it was no disgrace getting knocked out by Usyk, and it just kind of shows that when you had all that nonsense about getting it with a body shot and he could have won first fight, it's like never going to happen. So he did look like a novice against Usyk. He was getting it with all sorts. He got set up. He just when you think the win he had over AJ made him look good, the loss over Usyk made him look terrible. And so I don't think, Tony's got his work cut out there. And whatever Dubois fighting, there's money to be made, whether he goes in as a challenger or they're going to build him up again, there's going to be money to be made out of him to a certain degree. And where there's money to be made, people are going to train him, people are going to give him the fights, and TV is going to switch him on until he gets to that point where he's no longer required. So I just don't think anybody who trains Daniel Dubois is going to break that bond between him and his dad. And I think when people get involved in boxing, like his dad, who don't know anything about actual boxing training, he knows about his son probably, but don't actually know about training, and you listen to that, well, you're going to be compromised as a trainer, aren't you? I've had it with people, and in recent years,
do you think Tony's a guy to kind of stop that?
He can't stop it, can he? How can he stop it? Because he's getting paid. He's not. There's no bond there. He's just a hired help. Whereas the fighters we had from the ground up, they have that kind of respect. They know where you're coming from. You've got a bit of a kind of pull. But it's never going to work, is it, with Daniel Dubois? It doesn't matter who trains him, because the best thing to do there is just tell his dad to get out of the mix, but that's never going to happen because he's tied into his dad, isn't he? So that's already set. So it's going to be a difficult situation for Tony. He's just got to make sure he gets paid well and gets his money. So, for the job that he's doing.
So obviously Tony Sims appears like he's going to be the man taking charge, but obviously we've seen Don Charles, again, like I said, he hasn't said this, or it's not officially out there, but if he has been relieved of his duties, is it a fair decision? Is it the right decision? Because just as a backdrop, we've seen him have 5 fights together, 2 losses to Usyk, an all-time great, and 3 underdog wins against Jarrell Miller. People thought he'd lose. People thought he'd get stopped by Hrgovic. He stopped Hrgovic, and he was a big underdog against Anthony Joshua, and he knocked Anthony Joshua out. So 3 big wins together. Was it a justified decision?
Well, when I see things like that happening, I always get these famous quotes coming to my mind. And one particular quote that my dad used to say even when I was a kid. Dominic, and it doesn't just apply to boxing this, but it's very applicable to boxing. They choose you, fighters choose you. Then they use you to get where they need to be. Then they accuse you when everything goes wrong. And when they've left and gone somewhere else, then they start to abuse you by doing interviews, slagging you off. And that happens more times than it doesn't. You get the fighters like Cole Froch who stick with the trainer all their life. Johnny Nelson stick with the trainer all their life. And you get them rare kind of people. But then we get other fighters who've had about 5 or 6 coaches. Some people keep their mouth shut and move on and just put it down to experience. But there's always accusations. And we had that with Naz. So, it's not a surprise what's happened to Don Charles. Hopefully, like I always say, he's made enough money out of it. He's got paid. It's resurrected his boxing career if he wants to carry on doing it. But I can imagine that he's got to the time of life now, because he's a little bit older than me, where he's thinking, why bother? You know, and if he can afford not to do it, then, you know, sit back and enjoy the rest of his days.
Are you surprised by it? Was it justified?
Oh, because it kind of then, you know, there will always be people who look at boxing and think, you know, Daniel Dubois is fantastic, it went down to his coach, and then there'll be people who think Don Charles is fantastic, you know, Dubois is useless. You're never going to get everybody viewing the same page. You're just not. And, you know, in that way, maybe in Daniel's mind and his dad's mind and all the pro-Daniel supporters is, yeah, he's escaped. That's why he didn't win, because, you know, that's why he lost, because it was Don Charles. But then further down the line, there'll be some other trainer who trains him and he'll get a beat and then he'll get blamed. At the end of the day, it takes a bit of a good fighter to say, oh, you know what, the fault lies with me. And that's it, because they're doing the fighting. When they're winning, it's all down to them. When they're losing, it's always down to somebody else, with a lot of fighters.
Respect isn't given, it's earned. In blood.
Undisputed, the Mexican Monster Pack out now.